Real quick, before we get started, which color do you think is better? The new lavender on the iPhone 17 or the teal on the iPhone 16? Look, we all know it's the teal, but let me know in the comments just to make sure. Okay, I've been using the new iPhone 17 for about a week now and try to refrain from having your eyes roll too hard when I say this, but really, in my opinion, this is one of the best iPhones Apple has put out in a very long time. Now, that might be different from what you were expecting because based on all of the new iPhones Apple released earlier, this one, the regular iPhone 17, is by far the most familiar. In fact, from the outside, it can very easily be mistaken for last year's iPhone 16, so it doesn't really scream big upgrade upon first appearance. But Apple did do some pretty significant changes to the inside of this phone to the point where I feel like the separation between the Pro and the non-Pro offering is slimmer than ever before and definitely makes the iPhone 17 the best value iPhone and potentially smartphone overall that you can go with in 2025. And real quick, before we jump into it, because I know I'm going to get asked in the comments, if you guys want the wallpapers in this video, make sure to subscribe to the JSL newsletter. I send subscribers out a brand new full-res wallpaper every single week, as well as links to really good tech tales and fun articles written by yours truly. It's totally free. The link to subscribe will be in the description down below. Okay, first, let's talk about the physical design of the iPhone 17. Again, it didn't change much from last year, but there are some subtle and notable updates. So unlike the iPhone 17 Pros, the regular 17 maintains last year's design DNA as it's the same glass-on-glass build connected together with a nicely color-matched aluminum frame. You get the relatively new vertical camera layout that was introduced last year that doesn't have the typical square camera housing for a cleaner look. You also get some new colors, of course, like the lavender one that I have here, and generally speaking, I like last year's colors better as they're a bit more vibrant and fun, but I do like the lavender one. It's a bit more subtle and not as loud, which I think is a good thing. Now, the iPhone 17 still comes equipped with the action button, which is great, a wonderful addition Apple added last year, and low-key a really useful feature. You also still get access to Apple's camera control button on the side, which frankly I never really use, but it is there in case you're wondering. Now, an upgrade that you won't be able to see with your eyes, but is definitely different from last year, the iPhone 17 is equipped with Apple's Ceramic Shield 2 on the front glass. Apple claims this is 3 times more scratch resistant than its already strong Ceramic Shield 1, and early tests indicate that this is a pretty big upgrade in terms of durability. 1 week later, I haven't noticed any scratches on either the front or back yet, but I'd still recommend using a case and screen protector if you plan on using this phone for a long time. But overall, the physical design of the iPhone 17 has been great, despite being ultra familiar. Now, you might be worried that this phone is going to be boring, especially if you're on something like an iPhone 14 or under, because it can seem like it's more of the same, and you might be more enamored by the Pros or the new Air just because they look new, but the iPhone 17 is a lot more new than you think. First of all, the screen has increased from 6.1 to 6.3 inches as it's reduced its already small bezel even smaller, giving users a more immersive viewing experience. This may not seem like a lot, but it does make a noticeable difference, and it's now the same size as the regular Pro iPhone. Plus, they're both using Apple's Super Retina XDR OLED panels, which look fantastic, and both are the exact same resolution, and both have an updated peak brightness of 3000 nits. But without question, the most notable upgrade the iPhone 17 brings to the table is a high refresh rate, as the regular iPhone has been nerfed with the 60Hz panel for way too long. And what's great is that Apple kind of went 0 to 100 miles per hour by giving the iPhone 17 its 120Hz Pro Motion technology, which is not only class leading, but again, exactly what's on the Pro iPhone. I could have totally seen Apple trying to do a light version of Pro Motion, making it 90 Hz or something to differentiate the Pros and the non-Pro models, but looks like they decided to just go with what they had, which I'm gonna see as a gift to consumers for being so egregiously late to this party. And look, I know it's virtually impossible to notice a difference on video, but Pro Motion does make the user experience a lot better. Navigating around iOS and your apps is silkier and more enjoyable. You finally get an always-on display on the regular iPhone as well now, and because the screen is something that you're engaging with all the time, it's a significant upgrade. Now, when it comes to what else is new on the inside, the iPhone 17 is rocking Apple's new A19 chip, its latest non-Pro mobile processor. And as to be expected, the general performance on the iPhone 17 is great, even with the upgrade to a 120Hz display. So opening apps is fast, and you can have a lot open without any slowdowns, and gaming is smooth and lag-free. Now, one thing to note, this phone does come with iOS 26 pre-installed, and it's quite a big update that I feel requires requires a lot from your system, so the A19 chip could be a lot more important than it seems when compared to older phones trying to run a pretty demanding software. And of course, you get access to all of Apple's new fun features like call screening and Apple Intelligence, something that Apple spent very little time talking about this go around, which was kind of interesting. Now, Apple does claim that the iPhone 17 has a better battery life than last year. 1 week later, I haven't noticed a major difference. Still getting around 7 hours or so of screen on time, but I'm curious to see how the battery life changes as iOS 26 starts to mature. But the biggest upgrade to the iPhone 17 comes with its cameras, and mainly with the one that a lot of people weren't expecting. But let's start with the cameras on the rear. You now get a 48 megapixel dual fusion main sensor and an upgraded 48 megapixel fusion ultra-wide camera. The whole fusion thing is a camera feature that fuses two images together to make what it feels is the best possible end result. You'll need to toggle on the 48 megapixel shooting mode to really take advantage of this feature, but I'd say the default normal setting is just fine for most people, as the images coming out of the iPhone 17's rear cameras are great. Apple continues to provide users with really great natural looking photos that don't come off over-processed or artificial, and is still the king in terms of consistency when it comes to overall quality. It is great having a beefed up ultra-wide, as the pictures coming out of this camera are noticeably more detailed and sharp, and having the lossless 2x zoom is enough for me to feel like I have a triple camera setup. Video on the iPhone 17 is also fantastic, as Apple firmly retains the crown as best phone for video, as the 4K video comes out sharp and again, way more natural than the competition, a key selling point to those who are into mobile content creation. But the real big upgrade to the cameras this year has to be the new center stage front-facing selfie camera, probably one of the smartest new features Apple has brought to the iPhone in a very long time. The larger sensor allows users to take selfies in both portrait and landscape mode, which is surprisingly useful, and you can toggle on center stage mode that will automatically adjust the frame when the camera detects more people in the background. And so far, the results are really good. There's no compromises with image quality when switching between different modes that are now offered, and I love being able to simply press a button to change the aspect ratio. It sounds simple enough, but this gives the selfie camera a lot more utility, and I think it's pretty great that Apple decided to include this new feature onto the regular iPhone 17 and not make it a Pro exclusive. So when you factor in things like the larger display with the smaller bezel and the implementation of ProMotion, the new A19 chip, and the improved cameras, the iPhone 17 is actually quite a big upgrade even from last year. And with all of these improvements, definitely more than ever before, the regular iPhone is as close as it's ever been to the Pros. And to really add icing to the cake, the base model now comes with 256 gigabytes of internal storage, up from 128, but the price stays the same at $799. I think this makes the iPhone 17 the best value iPhone by a considerable margin, and definitely a candidate for best value smartphone overall in the current market. Now we'll see how this phone progresses over time. Make sure that you're subscribed to check out the longer term reviews coming soon. But what do you guys think about the iPhone 17? Are you a fan like me, or are you left disappointed? Curious to get your thoughts. Let me know what you guys are thinking in the comments down below. And in case you're more interested in the iPhone 17 Pro or the new iPhone Air, definitely check out these videos here. You're not going to want to miss them.